What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm fan service
I'm
Renji.
Shana Mostella.
Today, we're going to talk about convention rooming horror stories.
Oh, shit. I've been waiting for this
snap.
one.
You go to as many cons as we do. Sadly to admit, there are a lot of convention rooming situations that don't work out, especially if you young and broke. We tolerate it. Then you think back as an adult, you're like, wow, did I really deal with all that crap?
Sadly, when you're a kid, you're younger, all that stuff doesn't matter as long as you can get to the convention for a cheap price.
You just want to get to that con.
Exactly.
All right, Shauna, I'm going to throw this one to you.
All right. So it was Anime Central, ASIN. And that's the convention that I first started going to 10 plus years ago now. Wow, I'm old, but
Con mom.
But yeah.
Con cougar.
I'm originally from Chicago. ASIN naturally was my first convention because it was right there. It was every May. I couldn't wait for that shit because it was right around the corner after school. That was the convention we looked forward to all the time. It was the year that I had moved closer to the convention area. For some reason, I decided to get a hotel for that year, even though I was so close. I only had people in my room that were my friends, people that I knew.
Yeah.
And people that, loved ASIN as much as I did because, got to keep it real. But yeah, this one friend, I won't name her, but we'll call her Ashley for the sake of privacy. Ashley was a raver. She loved to party. She loved to be out. So I'm thinking like, okay, she's a perfect addition to the room because she won't really be in the room because I knew that this girl wouldn't really be around as much and like wouldn't take up room space. I had never roomed with her previously for any other convention. It was time to go out and party. It was time to go out and socialize and stuff like that. So everybody was out of the room. We were all out doing our own things. Nobody was in the room. It came down to the point where it was almost dinner time, almost time to come back to the room, do their thing, freshen up, do whatever they need to do. It's like an in and out period. So I'm trying to make it back to the room because I needed to change out of my cosplay or whatever. I needed to do something really quick so I can just be in and out of the room really quick. So I make it back to the room. I try to open the door with my room key and the room doesn't open. I'm trying so hard with my room key. I put it in everything. I do it a few times because I'm like, wait, there's something wrong because I know my key works.
Yeah.
This is like maybe the first day of the convention. I know my key works. Like sometimes your key gets ruined or broken or whatever throughout the day. I get that. I'm just like, wait a minute.
Did it not open? Like, did the green light flash and said it like your key worked?
Actually, yeah, it did. Okay, so
that's the difference.
The room light, the light on the lock was flashing green.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to put my key in and take it out. It's flashing green like it's going to open, but it just doesn't open for some reason.
So the key is working, but the door isn't opening.
Yeah, so I noticed that. And then I'm just like, okay. So then I knock on the door. So I'm like, I don't know what else to do. Like maybe someone's in there. A few minutes later, Ashley opens the door and she goes, "What do you want?" And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I want? I'm trying to get into the room. I need to change clothes really quick. I need to like just in and out and go. My first instinct was like, okay, this is my room.
Excuse you, bitch.
Excuse me. Like, this is my room. I paid for this. You're just invited to this. She lets me in and I see that there's a boy in the room, a guy, and they're like kind of half naked, kind of look like they were a little sweaty and stuff like that. So I'm looking at her like, were you trying to do something with this guy? Like, were you guys hooking up right now? Why is the door locked?
Clearly, he wasn't a part of the room.
Yeah, so I'm thinking.
Which hotel was this? I'm very familiar with the ASIN hotels.
I think this was the Embassy Suites.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a living room and there's a bedroom. Okay, yeah. So there's
plenty of space in
there's
this room.
double doors that lead into a living room, and then there's a door that leads into the bedroom.
It dawned on me because I'm like, why didn't the door open right away? Like, if you're in here, why didn't it open? So I see this guy friend in there, and I'm just like, oh shit, like you were not in here trying to hook up, lock the door on everybody that's in here.
Yeah, she put that security lock, that bolt, and she probably wrapped some shoestring around the door handle.
Exactly. I'm like, girl, you cannot do that. that it's a courtesy for me to let you stay here, and then I trust you that you're not going to do stuff like that. That's why I had only limited people in the room, because people do shit all the time, but like,
and that was a room with your friends. At the very least, communicate with your homies.
And this guy wasn't a part of my room, so I want to put that out there. This guy was not. He was a rando. He was just some guy that she had, was previously hooking up with in her own time, in her own space. That's fine, but like, when I invite you to stay in this room is for everybody. It's not for you to hook up with. And if that's the case, let somebody know.
Yeah, don't just lock people out.
So she can have her do not disturb moment with this dude, this rando in my room. And that's another precaution too. It's like, I'm inviting people that I know for a purpose. If you're in my room and I have expensive stuff, like say I brought my PlayStation or something, or say I brought something expensive into the room, you're inviting these randos into my room without even thinking like this person, like you don't know this person clearly, like not like that. What if you went to the bathroom or something and this person's going through other people's possessions, and I had other people in the room that I trusted and that we all trusted each other, but you bring this rando into the room, I'm going to be held accountable if this person steals from the people in the room.
Yeah, at least as a courtesy, put the do not disturb sign.
Or let somebody know.
Let somebody know. That's messed up if this girl is one of your friends.
Right, because I can't be held accountable for other people in the room. Like, if you let us know ahead of time, we can put stuff away and, like, take precautions on that.
Or at least plan for it.
Exactly.
At least have the courtesy, like, all right, if you're going to do it in your own bed space. Yeah.
Set boundaries. There's nothing wrong with hooking up in the room, but it's just let somebody know so that we can set boundaries and rules. And
don't hook up on my bed.
Exactly.
Don't hook up on the common areas where we're all gonna use. Don't be bending someone over the fridge or having yourself bent over the fridge.
I know, like it was terrible. Like,
ain't no one trying to step on that mayonnaise on the floor. That ain't sandwich mayonnaise, all right?
It's one thing if we all knew about it, but this girl literally just brought some random person in the room and locked everybody out.
Did she ever like confess? Oh, I was trying to hook up with this guy
no,
later.
And this is the thing that really ticked me off. She was mad at us. She was like, "Oh no, like you need to knock first. You need to do this and that's like, bitch." Hold up. No. First of all, you need to let somebody know when you're about to do this shit. Obviously, this girl wasn't thinking about those things. She just did what she wanted to do, and that was it. But then she got mad at me like, oh, I'm trying to have company over. I'm trying to, you need to knock. Like I remember that. She said, you need to knock first.
You're trying to have company over? What, are you a middle-aged housewife?
And this girl.
I'm having company over. You should be on your best behavior.
Exactly. And this girl at the time was living with her mom, so I understand.
How old was she? Mid-20s?
Yeah, she was mid-20s. She was old enough to know better, and it's like, it's not my responsibility to, knock on the door and like, no. I invited you here because you needed a place to stay.
Yeah.
Not so you can have a place to fuck somebody. Come on. Courtesy first.
And she never admitted to it.
She never did.
She never was like, yeah, I was trying to hook up.
No, she never put responsibility on herself.
So she just remained rude.
She remained rude the entire weekend because I remember distinctly the same girl got mad that somebody threw away her limited edition vodka bottle that she had it for the weekend, but like somebody threw it away because the bottle was empty, and she got mad at that person for throwing it away because it was a pretty bottle. Why did you?
You mean someone was being responsible and cleaning up the room?
Yes, and she got mad at them for something like that.
They saw trash in an empty bottle and they threw it away.
She was being mad, disrespectful the entire weekend.
Oh wow!
I can go on and on about the things that she did that weekend, but we want to keep it exclusively to con room horror stories.
But that is a part of the horror story because that is a part of being in a room. You need to respect people's space. If you have something of yours, contain it to your quarters or let people know, hey, don't trash this, don't do this. I would have threw it away too. If that's a bottle, clearly just a bottle of whatever.
She was a nightmare the entire time.
Wow.
She was a nightmare. She was entitled. She was spoiled. She was just being the queen bitch of the room, basically. Just going around saying, oh, I'm this and that. I'm hot shit. I'm doing this. I'm going out. I'm popular. Like, oh, God, girl, just calm the fuck down. And mind you.
Was she actually popular?
No. She only had.
She wasn't even con famous.
She wasn't.
Not cosplay. I'm talking about con. When I say con famous, I mean only famous at that one convention.
No, she wasn't famous at all.
Oh.
She was just acting like she was, and that's what ruined our relationship. Because beyond, like before that, before this whole incident, she didn't act like that. So that's why I invited her to the room in the first place, thinking that she was responsible, thinking that I could trust her. But she just did a whole 180 on me and just became this person that I knew nothing about.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was, walking on eggshells around her and not really saying much because you kind of ruin the relationship. Like, you ruin that trust.
I mean, sometimes that's what it takes when you finally room with a person and you see who they are at all times of the day. Like online or high and by at conventions or just hanging out.
Yeah.
Everyone's putting on their front, their best behavior. It's that behind the scenes moment where you're in a room with them. You're seeing them with the makeup off. You're seeing them with their guard down. You sometimes see how shitty some people are. I'm right there with you. I've been with people where seeing them in person and spending a couple hours with them at a con, I totally hate them now, and I want to punch them in the dick if they have a dick or not.
It's not until you live with somebody to when you see their true colors. And I've learned my lesson from
and
this.
And by living, all it takes is one weekend.
Exactly.
Or a day. Or a slumber party.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that with my own friends. As soon as they slept over, me and that friend was done with. Because it was just over.
Well, yeah, because people can hold their farts when they're hanging out with you, but they spend the night, and once they let that fart and you smell it for what it is,
they take their mask off, and that's it.
Mask off. Dirty draws after the fart, over. You out of my house, you ain't putting your doo-doo farts on my blanket.
And it's sad because after that, I didn't really trust many people after that because it's like, it was a night and day difference.
No, I feel that because that room is supposed to be a room full of your actual friends, people you could trust.
And I took it seriously, and that's why I only invited people that I knew because I could trust those people. Yeah. I knew they weren't grimy. I knew they weren't like doing stupid stuff like that. But like this girl, I guess I just gave her too much freedom to be like, for her to have this room with us and to be free and to do what she wanted. I just feel like she took that as an opportunity.
She probably doesn't room at a lot of cons.
She probably doesn't go to a lot of cons.
On top of that and actually having a room,
because her as a person, her as a person was totally normal and totally just whatever. So I just didn't think like, but it's always the quiet ones. It's always the quiet people that turn out to be devils in disguise. So I'm never going to make that mistake again. Like, you're going to have lunch with me, dinner, breakfast. You're going to sleep over at least a few times.
You're going to fill out a credit report.
You're going to fill out a credit report. A background check is going to be done.
You're going to pee in a cup.
You're going to pee in a cup.
Better be warm. Or else I know it's not your pee. I know all those hood pee tricks.
Oh, yeah.
Someone else pee in a cup. I'm going to watch you pee in that cup.
Shit, I'd be trying to do that shit too.
You ain't going in my room. I'm going to see you pee in a cup.
No, but seriously, like, that was the end of the road with her, and I'm just glad that I know what not to expect from people.
I don't think I could pee in a cup if someone was watching me.
I'd be like, I can't do it because you're watching me.
I would turn around and pee on them. Like, oh, you're scaring me. Con rooming horror stories. One of my stories that I will never forget, I was at ColossalCon, staying off-site, being economical. I forgot what hotel we were staying at, but that doesn't really matter. The room was myself, girls dating, one of my homies, for those who don't know what the word homie is, means good friend, and a girl he just started dating. A girl that I actually introduced him to. He's not really a con goer, but I convinced him to come along, and he met a girl. He started dating her, so he kept going to cons. This was the next con after they started dating. She wanted to go, so he went. I'm thinking, you know what? This is one of my really close homies. This shouldn't be a problem. He's dating this girl. Cool. We have open lines of communication, thinking things are going to work out, all right? So we're at this con. Quickly learn he is a TV addict. First thing he does when he wakes up, he turns on the TV. He works first shift. He's used to waking up at 3 a.m. So the first thing that irked me was he would wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. and watch TV. The rest of us were sleeping, and he would just watch TV. We were at a crappy, Days Inn, Quality, in some motel. It was $40 a night at ColossalCon. For those who go to ColossalCon right now, y'all know all the hotels are like $100+
Mm-hmm.
We were staying somewhere that cost $45 a night. You know, it was some murder motel. I don't know how else to describe it, but people got shot there. All right, there's still chalk outlines of bodies in the rooms we were staying
That's
in.
messed up.
We was trying to live that cheap weeb life. He would wake up and watch the 3 channels that motel had to offer. I'm a morning person, but even I was like, holy frick, bro. Why are you watching Ohio news? We're not even from Ohio.
Exactly.
Who cares if the school district has decided to vote against free milks for the month of October? Like, who cares? And he's sitting there watching it. I had a talk with him. I was like, dude, can you stop watching TV so early in the morning? We're trying to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, but I can't help it. I get up. It's what I do.
Yeah.
I thought that was enough. The next day, guess what? I wake up to hearing about how the Ohio school district is not having free milks in the month of October. Just told you, stop watching TV in the morning.
Fucking idiot.
Needless to say, he did not stop watching TV.
Oh my God.
Okay, in the morning, yes, it wakes everyone up. TV is kind of like an epidemic. Though you don't want to watch it, you catch yourself looking at it, especially if a show you like is going on, you happen to watch. For some reason, every time I'm in a motel or I'm at a con, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Martin comes on.
Exactly.
You just can't not watch Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
When it comes on, you're like, oh shit, Fresh Prince. I love Fresh Prince.
Exactly.
And then you end up watching it, and next thing you know, 3 hours later, you're stuck in that hotel room instead of the con because motels love to show 6 hours of Fresh Prince or Martin or whatever your favorite sitcom is. And you find yourself watching it. Had to talk with him again, like, bro, we're trying to just hurry up and get dressed and go to this con. Remember, I said we stayed off-site at one of the cheap hotels, so we're trying to save money and jump in one car, go at the same time. Because we're trying to go in one trip, we're waiting on everyone to get ready. Well, we can't get ready if we're all watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and we're all guilty of watching it. Again,
Exactly.
I was like, bro, can you just not watch TV? Because it's distracting everyone from getting ready. Half of us may be getting ready, then the other 2 may be watching Fresh Prince, and then no one's getting ready. It got to the point to where we had to unplug the TV so he wouldn't watch it and hide the remote. He found the remote, but it took him a day to plug the TV back in. For some reason, he didn't think about that. He's like, oh, where's the remote?
He just thought it was broken.
Yeah, he literally thought it was broken, and then he called the front desk. It was that serious. He called the front desk to come fix the TV. He didn't care that our toilet didn't flush that good. He didn't care that the fridge wasn't cold. But when that TV came unplugged, he lost his mind.
Oh my God.
That was only the start of the problems. This dude also snored really loud. Try to tell him, but you can't help what people do when they sleep. While he snored, I would throw pillows at him from my side of the bed.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
Threw pillows. Like, dude, shut up.
I hate when people snore.
And it didn't matter what angle he slept in, because some people snore when they're on their back or in certain circumstances. He snored no matter what angle. His girl at the time was like, hey, I'll try to stop him from snoring. I know he snores when he's on his back, so I'll try to turn him around. You guys don't have to throw pillows because that wakes me up too. All right, cool. Guess what? This girl snores just as much as he did.
Jesus. So she doesn't even know.
She doesn't even know because
She doesn't hear him snoring because she's snoring too.
Her own snoring with his snoring. Both of these are hopeless. And we can hear both of them snore. Just like...
Wow.
God, did I room with 2 freaking bears hibernating for the winter? Throwing pillows was pointless. We were at the point where you just had to push them into the hallway. If the door was wide enough, we would have just drugged them into the hallway and just left them there.
I cannot stand when someone snores. Like that person, I would have to know that ahead of time before
Yeah.
I even invited them anywhere near me because
No, yeah.
they wouldn't be in my room if I knew that they snored.
That's definitely a deal breaker for me.
It's a deal breaker for me.
I ask people if they snore.
Yeah.
Or if people want to bring their friends in their room, the first thing I ask them is, have you room with them and do they snore? Because if they snore, they can't room with us. But if I'm in a pinch, I make sure that they understand if they snore, we're going to throw pillows at them until they stop.
Even if that person is my true friend, like I love this person to death. If I know you snore, I'm sorry, baby. Like you can't room with me.
It's such
I
a
would have a
deal
problem.
breaker.
I would have a problem with that.
It's hard enough to sleep at cons as it is. Half the time, you have a lot of people. You guys are sharing beds, or there's just loud people in the hallway. I remember one con, you were there with me. It was at YomaCon, where the people above us were singing Backstreet Boys all night.
Yeah.
It was 4 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
And then you hear upstairs, "You are my fire, the one desire." Like people was hitting the backup notes. I want it that way. Tell me why. Like they had the whole thing. There was at least 6 of them upstairs hitting Backstreet Boys.
How do I
want it
hear
that
people
way.
Upstairs? That's the thing. It's like
They was going at it all
you
night.
can hear people next door, whatever.
They
but
was
like,
upstairs.
They were upstairs.
Not stopping, just singing.
Having a whole choir routine down.
Yeah. I usually let con people just do their thing. That night was the very first night in history that I not only called the front desk, I low-key tried to call the police. I called the front desk. Like, yo, I'm in this room. These people upstairs are just singing their hearts out. They did nothing. An hour later, I called the front desk again. They didn't do anything. So then I finally just called the police. It's like 6 a.m. I'm trying to sleep. Hotel wasn't doing anything. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
They was super stressed out and busy or whatever, but something had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I snitched on them, and that finally ended it because there was already police in the building, so they were just going to whatever room they were being dispatched to. Funny story about that. The next morning, it was Sunday, right? We was all checking out.
Mm-hmm.
I run into one of my friends. He was like, dude, man, where were you last night? I was like, I don't know. I went to the rave and the night was over. He's like, dude, you should have came up to our room. It was super lit. We had the suite on floor, this. I'm like, wait, what floor? And then he was just like, dude, we had like 50 people in the suite. And then we started singing Backstreet Boys and the cops broke us up. I was like, you mother effer. I'm like, you was the ones singing Backstreet Boys. I was like, yeah, how did you know? Because I'm the one that called the police on you. Oh, snap. Oh,
Holy
my bad,
shit.
bro.
Holy
my
shit.
bad. And it's like, dude, why you such a hater?
Are you fucking serious?
Because I'm trying to sleep. Y'all was good till about 3:30, 4 in the morning.
At that time, you're trying to sleep.
But at 5 or 6 and y'all was still singing Backstreet Boys, it was a wrap.
Oh my God.
I mean,
why you a hater?
I mean, we laughed about it afterwards, but damn, dude, like you were up all night and you had the whole crew singing. He's like, dude, like that was the hit song. I'm like, I know. Y'all sang I Want It That Way like 18 million times in a row. And I couldn't take it anymore. Mind you, I liked that song at the time, but not at 6 in the morning after a million.
After a whole weekend of whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Sorry to digress. Back to my friend and his girl. That the snoring and the TV was only a part of it. Then there was one last thing that they did that just made me never want to room with them again. They don't get to see each other all the time, so they're gonna get physical. Air quotes, physical.
Physical.
Again, I'm cool with that as long as we communicate. There was 4 of us. He had his own bed. I had my own bed. As long as he ain't humping on my bed or on top of the refrigerator, cool. Keep it respectful.
Mm-hmm.
my girl at the time wasn't ready for all that. I kind of spared her the details. I figured between me and my boy, we could keep this amongst ourselves. Nobody wants to think about people humping in their room. This dude and that girl. So they hook up and they throw their condom into the toilet, but don't flush. I had to find out from my girl at the time. And she was like looking at me like, whose condom is this? I'm like, it ain't mine.
Oh, God.
Like her and I were together the whole time. I was like, hey, I was with you this whole time. So don't look at me like I brought some random girl back to the room. And she went back to the room and she snapped. She's like, look, if y'all two are going to hook up in the room, at least have the decency to flush the damn condom. And then his girl hits him like, you didn't flush the condom? And they were just looking stupid. I'm just like, bro, really? You couldn't even flush the condom down the toilet or throw it? I don't know if it came back floating, but y'all at least could have checked.
Right. Especially if you're trying to be on the low and like.
And it made everyone feel so uncomfortable. Like I felt awkward because I had to talk to my girl like, I didn't know they were gonna do that, even though I did. So, but it's like, come on, dude, hide the evidence or wrap the condom up in toilet paper and just put it in the trash. I mean, technically, I think they tell you not to flush a condom because sometimes it does float back up.
Yeah.
So.
They gotta fish that out of the system at some point.
Yeah. But come on, bro.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, needless to say, that was probably the last time I roomed with them because...
Before we move on, I just wanted to touch on what you had said before about people watching movies in the room.
Yeah.
And, it just distracts the entire room situation from getting ready and getting out of the room and doing what they need to do, because I room with someone just like that who just... from start to finish, as soon as they woke up, was watching TV up until the point where they actually left the room. And, like, I can remember this specifically with the movie Sucker Punch.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys remember that shit.
Sucker Punch, yeah.
With Vanessa Hudgens and the other
she
girl.
was a bad bee.
She was. And that's the first time I had seen her in movies besides
Oh,
High
and
School
that Asian
Musical.
girl from Real World San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie Chung. You my wife.
Jamie Chung, yes. I forgot she was in the movie.
Anyways, Sucker Punch.
I had never seen that movie before, and this is like my biggest pet peeve when someone's just watching TV the whole entire time, because I do get distracted. Like you said, like Martin and Fresh Prince. Like, even though I've seen those shows like from start to finish a billion times, reruns over reruns and stuff like that, I always sit there and watch the entire episode, no matter how many times I've seen it. But I had never seen this movie, Sucker Punch. From the time I woke up in the room, they were watching this movie, and by the time I was done dressing in my cosplay and putting everything on, like, I would wait until commercials to go and like do my makeup and stuff like that. Like, it was so distracting. It was my first time seeing it.
Yeah,
it was intriguing because it's like all girl cast, and like they're kicking ass and doing things and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, like girl power, yeah, like come on, let's fuck shit up,
Yeah, you watch a whole ass movie. I bet with commercials and everything.
It.
With commercials, that movie like 16 hours long.
Yeah,
it's like watching Roots.
Roots.
It's when you watch movies on like cable or non-cable TV, with commercials, movies are like a week long. The one thing I hate doing at cons is watching TV. You're there to be at a con, to be with people. You can watch movies, you can watch anime in your own house, in your own place. As much as I talk shit about watching movies and shows or anime at cons, I keep finding myself doing it. I was just at a room party in Youmacon. I was there to party and socialize, and I watched a bunch of people watch JoJo. I was like, I just want people to just socialize. And then I found myself turning my head towards JoJo. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then when the end credits rolled and they had a song from Jodeci, Freaking You. Yeah.
Oh my God.
The end credits song was Jodeci, Freaking You.
Oh, wow.
Being a hip hop and R&B head, that 90s R&B music, that was the baby making music. Some of y'all don't know, but your parents was doing the nasty to some Jodeci in the 90s, and that's why you were born. All
Wow.
right? Some Jodeci is what conceived you. When they played Jodeci freaking you, I was like, I gotta watch the next episode. I don't even care about what's happening in JoJo, but the fact that they use Jodeci, the gangsters of 90s R&B.
What do they know about Jodeci? That's funny.
I know. How did JoJo know about Jodeci?
That's funny.
So then I found myself watching the next 2 episodes with the rest of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Then I left the room like, did I just go to a room party and watch a million episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Yes, I did. On the strength that the end credit song was Jodeci freaking you. Freaking you. And that's why I hate TVs on at conventions, because they distract everyone from the social aspect of being at a con. We left home to socialize with other nerds, not to watch anime.
But
with
that's
each other.
unfortunately what they do.
Going back to my friend, he wasn't even watching anime. He was watching Fresh Prince, the news, stock markets going up and down. He was just watching whatever was on. Stop doing that and flush your condoms.
No, make sure your condoms are out of the way. Like, don't flush your condoms.
Hide your condoms. Put it in a Ziploc bag.
Something.
Hide it in the Bible that comes in every motel. Just make sure
ain't nobody
the rest
that.
of us don't see it. They won't be traumatized like I have been. It's been, I don't know, 6 years since that happened. I don't even remember. It's been a long time, but it's still fresh on my mind. Ew. You should not be thinking about your friends' used condoms all these years later.
I guess my very first room con story, because
Ooh, the very first. Oh, when you was a youngling.
First, when I was a youngling.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, ASIN was my very first convention that I ever went to.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I started to venture out to other conventions in other states.
Ooh.
So this is my very first one out of state. And I had this friend. Let's name him
Bill.
Bill.
Bill's a good name.
Bill's a good name. So we'll name him Bill.
Bill.
So this guy, quick backstory.
Bill.
Okay.
I'm just stuck on Bill.
I
I don't know why I'm so amused with the name Bill. Okay, so Bill.
You were saying that like I said something
I'm
else.
like, Bill.
Like, what did I say? I hope I didn't
Bill.
say something.
Okay, Bill was a what? You're like, backstory, Bill. I'll shut up now.
Bill was a kind of a, for the lack of better words, Bill was an F boy.
Not food or fudge. F boy.
He was not a very good person, if I had to
Okay.
describe him.
Okay, anyways, your first
So-
convention out of state with Bill.
My friend Bill, he was talking about this convention that he was going to outside of the state. I'm like, oh, you mean there's something more than just ASIN, Anime Central? I'm like, okay. Like,
Mhm.
I'm going to go forward. I'm going to go through. Like, I want to do it. He's like, yeah, we're going to drive there, me and my friends and my girlfriend at the time, his girlfriend at the time. We're going to drive to this convention out of
Yeah.
state. It's going to be a great time because I do this all the time. And, like, I know this convention's good, so you're going to love it. So I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, hell yeah. Like, I want to see what's out there. I want to know, like, what's beyond the horizon and stuff like that. So, like, I followed him to this convention. In the car that we were driving, it was him, Bill, his friends.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll name him Michael.
Michael.
Bill, Michael, and his girlfriend at the time. We'll call her Missy.
You, Michael, Missy, Bill.
4 people.
4. Okay. All right, 4 people.
4 people in the car. And we're driving from Chicago to Ohio to Columbus.
Ohio Con.
Mm-hmm.
All
Ohio
right.
Con, yes.
4 people.
Mm-hmm. In
All
the
right.
car.
What kind of car was it? Just randomly wondering.
Maybe a Prius. I don't even know. It was a small car. It was not an SUV or a pickup truck or anything like
Yeah.
that. Michael, the other guy in the car,
Mm-hmm.
ex-military,
Yeah.
very F-boyish as well. And
Okay.
this entire time, they're both talking about this woman, this girl that's with Michael,
Mm-hmm.
Michael's girlfriend, I guess, at the time. And I didn't know this when they first started talking about her, and they're just going in on her like, what about that girl that you're dating? And aren't we going to her room right now? Not to get into detail what they were saying, they're talking mad shit about her the
Yeah.
entire 5 hours and 5 hours and a half, whatever it was, to get there.
Yeah.
And they were talking about this girl in great detail about how she is and what she's doing and stuff like that. And like the way that they were talking about this woman, I thought that this girl was just the most horrible person and this most like terrifying human being on the planet that this guy just happens to be dating or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just in the back seat, just along for the ride. Like, yeah, I'm going to another state. Yay. Like, we're going to another convention. Like, it's not ASIN. It's not ASIN at all. Like, we're going to another thing. Like, it was exciting for me. We get there. We get to this room. It was the middle of the night, mind you. It was like maybe midnight, maybe after midnight. Late. Nobody was out. No, nothing was going on. We get to this room. She opens the door. She sees us four. Immediately, she starts freaking out. She's like, Bill, what are you doing? Because she sees me, and Bill's girlfriend at the time. There's 4 people in that car.
Michael, yeah.
She was only expecting Bill and Michael. What are you guys doing? You can't bring more than what I already expected into this room.
And Michael didn't say anything?
Michael said nothing.
Oh, boyfriend trash.
Michael, the boyfriend, didn't say anything. Bill, my friend, and his girlfriend said nothing. Bill was all like, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. Bill was the spokesperson this whole time.
Bill the spokesperson?
Bill was talking this entire time. Michael said nothing. He's just sitting there like, comes to find out, this girl was the owner of the room. She had planned this whole thing out. OhioCon was her thing. Like, she had planned OhioCon out to the T. Comes to find out, this woman, this girl, was the girlfriend of Michael. The girl that they were talking shit about.
Wow.
For 5.5 hours, they made this girl sound so bad. Like, they were tearing her apart. They were talking mad shit about this girl. When she was complaining about Bill and Michael bringing 2 extra people into the room, she's like, more on the concern level of, I don't have any more space for anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, I don't know. Like, I just came along for the ride. Like me being there myself, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know this person. I didn't know Michael. I didn't know the girlfriend. We'll name her Jane.
Jane. It's a lot of names to keep track of.
She's like, guys, like, I don't have any more room for these people. Like, why didn't you tell me what was going on? Like, she was more concerned that she didn't have space for us.
Yeah.
I have 10 people in my room already, and I said that you guys could come in, just 2 of you, but now you added 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
So 14. She was
14.
willing to let 2 people slide, but yet Michael and
I got
Bill,
my Asian math right. It's 14.
and this was a queen size room. If those of you who don't know, queen size rooms are like 2 queen size beds in a room. It's still the same size room. It's not any bigger.
Yeah.
She was livid about it because, first of all, we had woken her up. We had woken the whole room up because we had just got there. What am I supposed to say to the people that are already here and paid for this room? Because, mind you, I didn't pay for the room. Me and the girl that Bill brought didn't pay for the room.
Yeah.
Everybody else that was there paid for the room.
Hold on. Let's just pause for a minute. All my brain is thinking about is where all these bodies are laying. Before you guys get there, that's 10 people. Let's break it down. I've had some pretty packed rooms in my con days.
Mm-hmm. Fortunately for Bill, Bill had already paid his way into the room, so he had a space on the bed. Yeah. Him and his girlfriend had a space on the bed. I was on the floor, but get this. That was only possible because 2 people left the room and bought their own room.
Ooh.
Because they were not ready for this.
Yeah.
Because we showed up, they were already asleep, mind you. Like they had their room situated. It was fine. Yeah. Jane and Michael were in their bed.
Okay, so they didn't even share a bed with extra people.
No.
Okay.
2 people left the room, got their own room in the same hotel. Luckily, there was still room in the hotel for them to do that. And that's what made it fucked up because I wasn't ready for that shit.
Yeah.
This is my second convention ever.
Ooh.
Outside of the state.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know that people did this stuff.
Yeah.
I felt bad. I just wish I had known this because I would have stayed. I was the extra person. I could have stayed home, honestly. Nobody told me
Yeah.
anything. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if I can go back home at this point. It was already late.
Yeah, like you couldn't go back home unless Bill wanted to go home. So you were at
Exactly.
the mercy of what Bill wanted to do. And let me guess, since Bill was an F boy, he's like, cool, we're here.
Exactly. And he had nothing to say.
Let's backtrack to Michael, Jane's boyfriend. He should have said something. If anyone could be like, we're bringing extra people, the boyfriend could have been the
Nobody
one.
said anything.
Anyway,
Michael was ex-military. So was she. Jane was an ex-military person. She was in the Air Force. He was in like the, I don't know. He was in the Marines or something like that.
yeah.
And that's how they met. The entire 5.5 hours there, they were talking about Jane.
Yeah.
How Jane wasn't the right fit for Michael. How Jane wasn't the right girl for him.
Yeah.
This guy was so over it and so this and that, whatever. She wasn't good enough for him to have sex with. They tore her down limb from limb.
And it's like, why are you still with her?
So then the next day comes around. We're all getting into cosplay. Everything's fine. Everything's like, well, not fine, but, like settled in that way. She says, oh, hey, I'm Jane. I'm like, wow.
Mine just exploded.
Wow. I didn't say anything, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, you're Jane. You're the girl that they were talking shit about for 5.5 hours on this trip. And you're the one with the room. You're the one who had to stress about this shit. You're the one they're talking shit about. Wow.
And your man Michael ain't shit this whole time.
Michael's older than all of us, mind you.
Pause, Michael. You ain't shit. You ain't shit that you've been feeling this way about Jane, but you still with her. Whatever your excuse is, you the one that's a bitch.
And if I remembered your real name, I would be using it.
Yeah. So Michael, you ain't shit. If you ain't happy with someone, break it off with them. Not talk shit to another F boy like
she
Bill.
saved your ass. She saved
Anyways.
all of our asses.
Yeah.
With that being said, that was the whole con situation room. There were other people in there that did stuff that were just unspeakable and just weird, and it was a shitty weekend.
So with the room being packed with 12 people, people are still like hooking up and just being gross and dirty.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
I
I
mean-
don't know if they were hooking up, but there was this one guy who, when everybody left the room, he would take
He
the
would lay on the
most
bed naked.
No, he would take the most gnarly shits in the bathroom, and it stunk up the entire room to where it came to a point where I had to go back to the room to finish a costume that I was working on. So at that time, I was like fresh into cosplay. I was working on something for somebody in the room. I came back to the room, and like it's just stunk so bad, and this one person just would not leave the room. He had something wrong with him. I don't even know. He ate some McDonald's.
He has some medical issue.
He had something wrong. He ate the wrong thing. And he just kept taking a shit every hour or whatever it was. And so I kept texting the roommates, like, don't come back in the room. Don't come back in the room. Like, this stinks of shit. Don't do it. And, like, everyone just stayed in the common areas and just, like, minded their own business the rest of the
Good
night.
thing this was back in the past and
Yeah.
it wasn't a coronavirus and toilet paper was available.
It was horrible. I had to call room service to get more toilet paper.
You had to call 911 because it just stunk that
It was bad. So, long story short, after this whole incident, me and Jane had a falling out because after that convention, we became good friends. We followed each other on Facebook. She got mad at me because of something Michael had said to her.
Yeah.
Michael told her that for whatever reason, I was talking shit about Jane. Needless to say, Jane listened to Michael and she believed everything that he said. I was wondering why she blocked me on Facebook,
Yeah.
why she blocked me on social media and stuff like that. And I called her. I just happened to call her out the blue one day. I asked her what was going on. I'm like, what is wrong? Like, why aren't we talking? Like, what's going on? Like, she just stopped talking to me out of the blue.
Yeah.
She goes, Michael said that you were talking shit about me. You were doing this and that and whatever. And I'm like, really? Really?
Really?
Let me bring it back to you.
Hunty.
Let me bring it back to you. OhioCon, honey. He was talking shit about you the entire ride there. I told her facts. I told her
Yeah.
everything that him and Bill were talking about. I said like everything verbatim what they were saying about this girl. And she was like, for some reason, I don't know why, but she believed me.
Oh, wow.
She added me back on
That's
Facebook
amazing.
because she had known this whole time that he had issues.
Yeah.
That was like the worst case scenario
Ugh.
that happened to me. Like, I wasn't even a part of this group, and I just became a part of it because of the situation.
No, like that's the worst, to sign up for a room that you don't have any clue what you're getting yourself into. I've been in rooms like that, and it sucks to just show up and you're the bad guy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But that stories, that's like layers and layers.
It was layers.
There's levels to that shit, as they say in hip hop. There's levels to that. Things you learn about people when you room with them. Everyone's cool on the surface level, that high buy shit. But when you room with them, the truth comes out. But that doesn't make it any less sucky. So that's why it has made it to the Convention Room Horror Stories podcast. Wow. That's a lot to follow, Shauna.
Sorry.
I don't know if my story is as epic, but I'll try. Surprisingly enough, this one also revolves around my experience at ColossalCon. This was my first year at ColossalCon. I had no intentions of going. I just got out of a relationship and I was feeling pretty down. One of my friends was like, look, bro, you should come to ColossalCon. I'm rooming with some girls that want to hook up with you. It could be a nice confidence boost. I had just gotten out of like a 2-year relationship. I was like, you know what? Screw it. If this is what's going to make me feel better about myself, surrounding myself with fangirls, cool. He told me he had space for me in his room. Didn't tell me who was in his room, how big his room was. At the time, my car was being worked on. I believe I was having it painted. All I had was my motorcycle. Despite all that, I was willing to go to a con that was 6 hours away from where I was living.
6 hours.
On my crotch rocket.
Oh my God.
I was going to pack my cosplay.
What kind of luggage were you going to take?
And my prop. I was going to have this big 5-foot sword on my back on a crotch rocket. I was that down and depressed about being broken up. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my prop on my crotch rocket. I didn't care. Luckily, well, or unluckily, one of my friends was like, dude, you can take my Honda Civic. His Honda Civic was in the early stages of being hooked up. He was trying to be fast and furious with it. He was having all this work done. Keyword was he was having, air quotes, all this work done. A lot of his work hadn't begun. His hood would not stay down. He had removed the hood latch because he was getting a new hood. We had to duct tape his hood so I could even drive it without it flipping up.
Wow.
He was missing a muffler and some of his muffler piping.
Oh, wow.
He was supposed to get a whole new exhaust system, right? I was driving and exposing myself to carbon monoxide leaking into the cabin. As you know, carbon monoxide, you can't really smell it, but it will kill you after a couple hours of being exposed to it.
Yeah.
I had a 6-hour drive. ColossalCon is in June. No AC, windows rolled down, carbon monoxide pumping into the cabin. Car was loud as hell. I didn't care. Hood duct taped down. Driving to this con. No radio.
Wow.
Finally, I made it in one piece. This hoopty ass Honda Civic. Could not find my friend. He wasn't picking up his phone. I didn't know what room he was in. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm staying. All day, all night, he wasn't picking up. I'm just like, wow, really? Luckily, one of my friends let me change in his room, so I got to change at the expense of his female roommates checking me out. They're like, oh, are you fan service Renji? They watched me change. I stripped down butt naked in their room. Someone was in the bathroom, so I just changed the room. I didn't care. I'm like, you know what? I'm just trying to enjoy this con. I almost died driving here. I just stripped down naked. And these girls were watching me strip.
Oh, wow.
Didn't even care. I was like, oh, you know what? Whatever. Free show. Enjoy my butt crack. And dick reflections in the mirror, if y'all could see it.
Damn.
I didn't get a hold of my friend till maybe 2 a.m. He didn't really tell me what room he was in still. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm on this floor. Tell me the room number. And then For some reason, it cut off. I was like, okay. So I made my way to that room. One of my other friends, the same friend actually from that Yomakan story where they were singing Backstreet Boys all
Oh,
night. He
wow.
was like, hey, what's up, Renji? Where you headed? Oh, I'm headed to so-and-so's room. He's like, oh, that's where I'm staying. All right, cool. So I'm following Mr. Backstreet Boys. We get up there. It's one of the Classican villas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, cool, he got a villa? He's like, yeah, it's one of the villas. We got 2 or 3 bedrooms. We got a kitchen, a living room, a volleyball court outside the balcony. We got a full-size hot tub. I'm like, sweet. I'm thinking it's going to be awesome. I opened that door, and there was more people than I could count.
Wow.
There was already like 6 people in the kitchen hanging out, cooking whatever. There was like 20 people in the living room playing pool because the room had a pool table. There was people on the couch. I'm going to this room. There was like 6 people in the kitchen.
Wow.
There was like 8 people in the hot tub. People outside. There was at least 40 people in this villa already. And I didn't even see who was in the bedroom. And then my friend, I didn't even see him when I walked in. He came out for a hot second. Oh, yeah, you made it. He's like, well, I'm about to go to bed in my room. It's already 2 a.m.
Wow.
And then I'm thinking, okay, all these people are going to leave at some point. None of them left.
Wow.
So I was just trying to sleep, but I'm at the mercy of when everyone else is going to sleep. So we all just hanging out. It's 4 a.m. People finally ready to go to sleep.
Wow.
Everyone's just finding a spot. Mr. Backstreet Boy, he's like, hey, I paid extra money to sleep on the sofa bed.
Wow.
My friend that offered me the free spot, he was the room leader. He was sound asleep in his room. Never came back out. Never told me where I was sleeping. No blankets were available. I just had to sleep on the floor. I rolled next to the couch where Mr. Backstreet Boy was sleeping. I was like, all right, I guess this is my spot. I didn't have any blankets. I didn't have anything. I wasn't prepared for any of that. There's at least 20 plus people in just the living room and kitchen alone. There's people sleeping on the porch balcony part, people sleeping outside, just people sleeping everywhere.
Wow.
Nobody left that damn room. I'm like, you know what? It's late. It's been a 6-hour drive. I'm tired. I'm just trying to like curl up in fetal position like I'm in prison for the first night. Like, all right, you know what? Let's just sleep. I noticed a couple people verbally asking for cuddle buddies.
Oh, God.
Girls and guys. Like, hey, who wants to cuddle with me since we don't have any blankets? Of course, the girls that asked first got dudes like, oh, me, volunteering right away. This dude lays down next to me. He's like, hey, are you Renji? Yeah. You want to cuddle? No.
What?
I'm like, no. I'm secure in my manhood and everything, but I just wasn't looking to cuddle anybody. I was really just disgusted in the rooming situation and mad that my friend didn't tell me that this was a situation.
Right.
Side note on the dude that asked me to cuddle, the funny thing was, remember Shana's story about the girl that locked the door in their room? Not at the time, but a month or 2 later, he started dating that girl that locked everyone out the room. Yeah. Like the timelines are different, but yeah, that was her boyfriend at some point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyways, he's like, hey, you want to cuddle? I was like, no,
God.
I don't want to cuddle. I don't know you either. 4 a.m, thinking it was late enough. I probably slept for a good 45 minutes. And then these 2 couples barged in the room and started arguing super loud.
At 3 o'clock in the morning?
4.
4?
No. We went to bed at 4. 5 in the morning.
Oh,
they
wow.
came barging in the room, fighting over something, just yelling at each other. And for some reason, the dude thought it was okay to cook breakfast while they're arguing. Like the door came open and they're like, oh yeah, you know what? Blah, 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 fuck you. And you're pissing me off. While the girl's yelling at him, he decided just to start cooking bacon and frying things. So when you fry stuff, the whole room starts smelling.
Right.
The crackling, the oil, there's smoke in the room.
It's like, oh, yeah, You want any bacon though?
And he's cooking bacon and the fire alarm goes off
What?
because no one opened the door because we're trying to lock in the AC.
Right.
For some reason, nobody was bothered by it but me.
Oh, God.
Maybe everyone was so drunk and whatever. For those who don't know, ClassicalCon is a big party con.
Yeah.
So people are super lit. I had enough. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I just get up while these two are arguing and cooking, grab my suitcase, and just leave.
Damn.
And I'm so distraught. I go all the way to the parking lot, and I start driving down the street in this loud-ass Honda Civic, going one hotel at a time, seeing who had or rooms available. Probably 20 minutes later, I got to my 5th hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, someone had a room available.
Mm-hmm.
I went from expecting to stay in this room for free to spending $200 a night for a Days Inn. A freaking Days Inn, which is regularly
$200 a night.
$45 a night when it wasn't ClassicalCon. But because it was ClassicalCon, they, of course, upcharged it.
Right.
And I was just so upset. I was already dealing with being out of a 2-year relationship and we broke up. I was like, I just want to sleep.
Right.
Luckily, the person in the front desk was super cool. He was like, look, bro, it's almost 6 in the morning. It's technically the next day. I'll just charge you from this night to the next night. We have a room. You can check in.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, but it's going to be $200 a night. He let me stay that night and the next night, and he only charged me for one night.
Nice.
Being the nice person that I am, I remember 2 of my friends sleeping in the lobby of the Kalahari Resort.
Mm-hmm.
They were also screwed out of their room situation.
Oh, wow.
They thought their roommate had their room for all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Comes to find out, they only had the room from Saturday to Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And their room leader was crashing in someone else's room. So those 2 were screwed. I told the dude at the Days Inn, like, hey, can I go back to the Kalahari Resort and grab my 2 friends? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'll get your room situated. I went back to convention center after being as pissed off as it was, grabbed those 2, brought them back to the Days Inn. I was like,
oh, wow.
I saw y'all sleeping on the lobby. Come just stay in my room.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, we've all been through it. Let's just crash in my room. Y'all ain't got to pay me. I already paid for it. So we all stayed at the Days Inn.
Oh, you're so nice.
$200. Yeah, I fell for them. Like, they were my friends. I'm like, y'all got tricked too. They're like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We really did. So yeah, I scooped them all up in that hoopty ass Honda Civic.
No hoopty.
And we stayed at the Days Inn. I didn't have the money to pay for it, but I had a credit card. I'm like, I'll figure it out later. Yeah, that was a really harsh lesson learned.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going to room with anyone for free. Nothing is free because obviously that night it was not free. It came at the cost of tolerating all that.
Yeah. But you didn't know about it.
I didn't know about that, just like you didn't know.
Exactly.
Come to find out, talk to Mr. Backstreet Boy. That was their situation all weekend. My friend, quote unquote, who was the room leader, he was comfortable in his room. It was only him and a girl that he was trying to woo that weekend.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't dating her. It was just some girl he was trying to impress. They were comfortable in their own room that night or that weekend. Digging deeper, he charged everyone else for that room space to where he stayed there for free and made a couple $100 on the side. ClassicalCon sells out quickly. So, yeah, he took advantage of that because he booked the suite right away. Mm-hmm. And ClassicalCon makes you pay for like 1 or 2 nights in advance or whatever, depending on what room you book. So he shelled out the money to pay for it in advance, but he charged people way more than their equal share, and he had to come up.
Wow.
He walked away with at least $500 in his pocket and stayed there for free. I know you was looking out for me, but were you really? Or were you really trying to impress the girls that was trying to hook up with me? Damn. Were you trying to use my name for clout? Because I was popping as a cosplayer in the Midwest at the time. So I don't trust you and I don't believe you. That's why we ain't that close right now. So F you.
Damn.
He definitely used that moment to his advantage. Nothing is free in life.
Exactly.
There's always a cost. I ended up paying $200 out of my own pocket for a convention I wasn't even planning on going to. That room stunk too. A lot of that room was wet. People were spilling beers all over the place. I remember trying to find a dry spot to lay on.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Convention horror stories. We've covered a lot of ground.
Yep.
Think that's good for this episode.
Yes.
Moral of the podcast, spend the money, be comfortable, Be picky of the people you room with. The
Mm-hmm.
money you save or the convenience that you think you're getting comes at a cost.
I know I'm a person that needs my sleep, so I'm not gonna room with anyone who snores, who talks too
Yeah.
loudly, too much.
Set
Yeah,
your standards. Set your
yeah.
standards. And as much as you want to go to this convention, think about the money you're spending, the time you're taking off from work, the effort you put into it. All of that could be ruined very quickly by rooming with the wrong people. Anyways, guys, you get the point. Convention room horror stories. Thank you for checking out the Shinobi Squad podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
Don't forget, we available on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Download us, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.